Hey there, you bearded bastards. Now, before we get started with today's episode, I'd like to show off a couple pieces of new fan artwork. First, we have this one here. You can see it's a bit of a comic strip. This one's done by One Time Drawer, or Drawer, perhaps. It is untitled, but it shows the first time a Delershla dwarf arrived at Zaludidil. Let's take a look.
What the hell is that?
Great, welcome in Zaludidil, newcomer.
Why the hell you butterfly elves live in those weak wooden hovel, on the surface?
Ah, you're from Delershla, right? In order to repopulate dwarven race, we decided to drastically change our lifestyle. No more settling in dangerous hellholes. We celebrate peace and nature.
Let me show you what I think about that new lifestyle of yours.
And the Delershla dwarf vomits on the Zaludidil dwarf. Because if you remember, the first time Delershla dwarves arrived here at Zaludidil, they coated the place green in vomit. Now, I like to think this entire comic is through the eyes of a Delershla dwarf, because now we know Zaludidil dwarves are the toughest dwarves in the world, this world anyways, even though they live in a fortress of logs. No matter there. You know, this comic, I'm a big fan of this style here, just black and white, very pixely, probably done in MS Paint I would assume. Fantastic work, One Time Drawer. Oh, and totally sorry I didn't show this off earlier. I actually received this like 4 episodes ago. I'm such a bad man. Anyways, we actually have another piece of artwork here as well. This one's done by Steven, or Bubbly Pies. And this one here depicts our beloved queen, Kivish Keeperplank, up in some sort of a viewing area looking down on this battle. Through her fancy little opera binoculars here, we can see she's also enjoying some delicious fried chicken. She is a big fan of them. She even appears to have one stuffed in her robes here. Yeah, I really like that. Got these little hairs on her chin. A beautiful thing. As well as some ornamental chickens here on her viewing platform. And what the hell's that? I just noticed there's is this a Kia? I'm pretty sure this is a Kia. Just kind of looking in through this corner here. You little bastard, get the hell out of here. Fantastic touch. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I love it so much when I can inspire people to be creative. It's gotta be one of my favorite parts of doing this whole thing here. One Time Drawer, Bubbly Pies, you guys rock. Thank you very much, I truly appreciate it. And as for the rest of you, oil your beards, sharpen your spears, and prepare yourselves for today's episode.
All of it.
It's bound to be a good one, I'm sure of it.
Well, I'm sure it's bound to be a good one.
Looking good for that.
Hello, you bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Zaludidil. As you can see, we are currently gearing up for the summer hunt of 1051. And this year, YouTube, it's gonna be a good one. I can easily promise that. The dwarves are ready and raring to go. Everyone's collecting up in the Hungry Axe currently. Kivish the Queen stares nervously out into the arena, where we see our Cyclops friend, Verano Fakaki Kithe Tavivi, who I'm sure is sick of dining on goblins. He now craves the flesh of dwarves. Can this beast fell our queen, or will our beloved monarch prevail against this terrifying creature? I'm afraid we'll have to wait a little bit longer than usual this year, dwarves. Because first, we have an appetizer. Our beloved warriors will paint the arena red with the blood of goblins, dropped from high above. A spectacle we all enjoy here in Zaludidil, a summer hunt favorite. The warriors are assembled. Verano Fakaki seems enraged. Enjoy the show, Cyclops, for you may not survive the rest of the summer hunt. In fact, I can almost guarantee it. Seems that one of the warriors has brought their babe into battle. What a lucky tot! Now then, if we're ready for a show, pull the lever! And let's begin the summer hunt of 1051. The warriors are anxious for bloodshed. But do not worry, dwarves, you shall soon receive And the hunt is on. The dwarves are moving in, creating a swath of destruction as they plow through the goblin horde. But really, dwarves, could we expect any less from these beautiful warriors? I should think not. And it seems like Rovad, our brave captain, is sleeping on the battlefield. He fears these goblins so little that he's willing to nap at their peasants. Haha, glorious. Ah, we've lost a dwarf. A glorious death in the arena. Do not cry for them, for Zuglar the Pinebeard has become a hero in Zaludidil's arena. Beautiful fighting, dwarves. Now, brave warriors, if someone would be so kind as to awaken Rovad the Gladiator, it is time to depart the arena, because the real show is about to begin. Oh my god, Rovad is still sleeping. Dude, are you serious? I mean, of all the dwarves that could be sleeping out here, it's gotta be Rovad. So beautiful. There we go. Thank you for waking him up. Now get the hell out of the arena. And now the real show can begin. Today, dwarves, our beloved monarch, Kivish Keeperplank, queen of the Foggy Books, will face the ferocious Cyclops in Zaludidil's grand arena. Does she have a single hope of survival against an enormous creature such as Verenofikaki Kithe Tavivi? A wily beast indeed. The last remaining creature of such enormous proportions to call the Ageless Realms its home. Today marks the end of the age of such colossal creatures, and also stands as a stark reminder of the power of the dwarves. The two combatants face each other across Zaludidil's bloodied arena. Heaps of goblin carcasses are strewn about the arena floor. The stink of blood and viscera hangs heavy in the air. But heavier still hangs the tension between these two ferocious warriors. Ah, Kivish is giving the signal. Well, dwarves, the grand spectacle is about to begin. It's time to pull the lever and begin the main event of the summer hunt of 1051. Let's do this. Brace yourselves, dwarves. This is sure to be an epic event. Truly a beautiful thing here, dwarves. The beast stood not a chance against our queen. But are we surprised? We are the dwarves of Zaludidil. Long live Kivish, queen of the Foggy Books, queen of Zaludidil. Look upon the bloodied, broken carcass of Verenofikaki Kithe Tavivi, and know that the dwarves will retake this world. We are the true masters of the Ageless Realms, not those goblins. Remember this, none can defeat us. We are the Bearded Kings. Well, now that the summer hunt has come to an end, I suppose it's time we look around the fortress a little bit. A couple more years have passed. It is 1051 as I had mentioned earlier. 2 years since last episode to be exact. And we've yet to see those goblins again. It seems they don't like to show up when I'm not recording. We'll have to keep on our toes. But no matter. If we take a look over here, you can see that this grand circular structure is now completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 levels tall. And the entire tower is constructed solely of Billin. Well, except for these gem windows here. And around the base of this structure you can see this little moat, made completely of Billin as well, stretching out westward between the arena and Zaludidel proper, with a bunch of small Billin bridges spanning the gap every so often. Now you may remember I said there would be water coming down from this structure and filling up that moat, but you know, I figured I'd wait for this monumental summer hunt to christen the thing. If we look up at the top of the structure, you can see we have 8 windmills here, all currently running and linked up to this pump stack, which will be drawing water from the aquifer, and all we have to do is pull this lever to get the entire thing running. Please bear in mind that I have only the most rudimentary idea how pump stacks work, and I only ever made one a long time ago, so I'm really hoping this works. So let's pull this lever here and get this water a-flowing. Alright, ready for this? Let's do it. Please be amazing. Oh, here it comes. Fantastic. Slowly. Well, it's certainly not going to fill up the trench at the bottom, I don't think. But it's good to see it's working. Beautiful. There it goes. Off the sides, down betwixt the windows, and into this little trench here. Yeah, it's not going to be filling up anytime soon, I don't think. But I'll be damned if it isn't glorious. Glad to see it working like I expected anyways. Always a nice thing with this game. This Tower of Billin was constructed in the name of Kivish Keeperplank, our beloved queen. And the water that flows from it shall continue to do so, as long as she remains as the first true queen of the Dwarven Nation. Boy, I can't wait for that water to get to the end and start making this big old corpse pile a swampy mess. That's gonna be pretty nice too, huh? Anyways, man, I'm a really big fan of this. And you know, taking a look here, it looks like this water is 7 of 7 depth currently, so it must be pumping out of there faster than I first thought. Pretty nifty. Alright, let's see what else the dwarves have accomplished in these past 2 years. We haven't really Billonified any more of this structure here, just because all the Billin that we have has been going into that tower there. So it's been pretty slow going there. Well, we have a couple more artifacts here. Nothing too exciting, but hell, I like drawing the things, so take a look. Desistosit, the Snarling Spikes, a bauxite scepter. It is encrusted with round bauxite cabicons and a trillion cut rubies and encircled with bands of briolette cut rubies, emerald cut citrines, and sheep leather. Its object menaces with spikes of ruby, pearwood, and wild boar bone. Pretty neat, huh? And super expensive to boot. I think it's the rubies that are doing it. Any artifact we've had with rubies on it have been extremely expensive. And we also had, ooh, this one's actually a really cool one. Intak Fushur Shaget Nashtath, Twilight Cleanse, the Horn of Devourers. A sheep bone short sword. Pretty cool, huh? It is encircled with bands of pear-cut white jades and steel. This object is adorned with hanging rings of chalk and menaces with spikes of sheep bone, larch, donkey leather, and white jade. On the item is an image of Past Play the Sliver of Day, the Slate Throne, in cedar. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Another bone weapon here in Zaludidel. Pretty cool. And that's all we've had for artifacts. Oh, and actually one last thing over this away here. I found something to do with that artifact casket that we had made last episode. If you look here, we have this squarish wooden structure made completely of pine logs. A little roof up there, nothing too fancy. And it goes down here to the floor where you see that artifact casket, surrounded by 4 orthoclase statues of osprey men. And here down this hallway you can see the caskets of our previous lost osprey people friends, and a couple more for future osprey people deaths. This here is the tomb of Rovad Duralthab, Butterfingers, / the Gladiator, and friend to the osprey men. I mean, the guy is the greatest warrior in the fortress and leads our entire military faithfully, even though he lost that artifact axe. And so this is where he will spend his eternal rest, with his friends the osprey men. Oh, and I made it entirely out of pine logs because he actually likes pine wood. Suitable, I'd say. Well, you know what? It seems to me like life in Zaludidel has kind of found its way. It's reached this nice even flow, all the dwarves seem happy, we now have the queen living here, it's the capital of the dwarven civilization in this world, and I'm kind of starting to feel like things are just a bit too crowded here. I mean, for goodness sake, we're currently up to 248 dwarves living in this fortress. Far more than have ever lived in Delairshulid, Pretty crazy, huh, YouTube? Up over 6 million created wealth. Fairly impressive anyways. The dwarves are starting to have babies again, so hopefully the population will continue to grow here in the dwarven capital. But you know, I think it's time we start stretching our legs, shake the dust out of our beards, and head out on the trail once more. But in what manner, YouTube? I actually have no idea, but I want to do something else. Well, I'll tell you what, YouTube, we've really stuck it to those damn goblins with this fortress here. They have to travel all the way across the continent, and then we just destroy them when they show up. I'm thinking we start a new fortress, an aggressive fortress, hostile to the goblins. Not to say that this one is particularly gentle with them, as I said, but I'm thinking we start a fortress deep within the goblin heartland, over on the eastern side of the continent. That sounds kind of fun, doesn't it? Yes, I like that idea. Oh man, the water has started to flow out of the end of that canal. Beautiful. Oh, it's gonna be such a mess over there. But anyways, Zeludidil, I never thought you'd be as big as you are. If you remember from the start, I was really planning on this being a tiny little fortress out in the middle of the woods. Very small and personal, filled with osprey people. But look at it now. A billion monstrosity. Capital of the dwarven civilization of this world. And really the heart of a new age. It's beautiful. And it shall always remain beautiful. I'll assume anyways. Hopefully the dwarves here will continue to replace Zeludidil's logs with billion bars, as well as continue to plunge into the depths in search of precious gems and ores. I haven't really showed off the mines in this fortress, but they're quite extensive. We had to do some serious digging to get all those gem windows. Pretty crazy, huh? Well, Rovad, the gladiator, you keep hanging in there. Lead our troops well, and keep an eye on those osprey people, will you? Kivish, the Blade Queen, may your stern guidance bring glory to the dwarves of Zeludidil. They're counting on you, Majesty. Minka Pops Idmamot, this is your fortress. As the expedition leader who originally led these dwarves here, this entire place is kinda your child, really. Oh, and for those of you out in the audience still wondering, nothing ever ended up coming of his love triangle situation with Domas Leechbreath. Eternal lovers. Very curious. And oh, Moosebane, the fur trader. I don't know how the hell you got to be our mayor. Moosebane, this disgusting dwarf here, is actually our mayor now. She was elected to the position like right before I started recording. How ridiculous is that? We've actually had the same exact mayor here ever since the beginning, until just this last episode. Completely ridiculous. Oh boy, gotta love that, huh? I kinda feel like I'm just procrastinating at this point. I don't really wanna leave, but damn it, a dwarf's gotta be free. Can't be cooped up in the same place forever. So we bring the fight to Buried Seduced, the goblin capital, or at least nearby it. Oh, and if you're wondering, YouTube, I know for Delairshulid I did that Armok vision thing at the end, but I'm not gonna do that here in this fortress. I enjoy telling stories and, keeping that whole flow a-going, and that sort of stuff is kind of a technical side note, really. I do plan on releasing my save file here after this entire series is over, whenever the hell that ends up being, so you can do it yourself then, if I am actually able to do it. Don't get your hopes too far up on that. But for now, you beautiful fortress, wrought of billen and pine, I bid you adieu. Truly you were the lantern that lit the future for the dwarves of this world, and we will always be thankful for you. Goodbye, Zeludidil. Your fortress has settled into the rhythm of day-to-day living, beyond your meticulous concern. So Zeludidil is now retired, to live on its own. Which is pretty sad, yes. It's always sad to leave such a well-storied fortress like Zeludidil, but you know, I'm actually very excited. Starting a new fortress is always extremely fun, and I'll tell you what guys, you should be excited too, cause it's gonna be awesome. I'm telling you, Dwarf Fortress mode, let's do this. An aggressive fortress. Yeah, you know, I figured I'd just squeeze this whole setup thing at the end of this episode here. The end of one fortress and the beginning of another one. Alright, now let's take a look here. Now over on the western side, the far western side of the continent is where Zeludidil was, situated in the turquoise jungles. And over this way here, this is where Delairshulid was. Definitely farther east, but still not too close to the goblin capital. Where to go, where to go? Certainly over towards the goblin capital. But you know, we saw a lot of goblins over here, actually. If you remember, this is the place that Bim had gone that was just loaded with goblins. Morning Rough, a dwarven hillocks, where apparently every goblin in the world now lives. Very odd. Yeah, kind of a toss-up, really. Do I want to be right next to the goblin capital, or do I want to be right next to this place that is loaded with goblins? You know, I wish there were some more interesting environments around here. Yeah, but I guess I'm thinking right here, in the prairies of Whipping. will be right next to Morning Rough, but also extremely close to Berried Seduced. It's a temperate shrubland, temperate temperature, it is a woodland, there's some deep soil and clay, as well as shallow and deep metals, and a fluxstone layer, so we can hopefully make steel. Yeah, this is looking like a pretty good place, I'd say. Alright, yeah, let's do it. Embark. Prepare for the journey carefully. 7 dwarves. Now, let's see here. I've got a feeling we're gonna get attacked fairly early on. Not like in Zeludidal there, just because it's so much closer this time. So we're gonna want some skilled miners, and also, it is not gonna hurt to have a skilled weaponsmith. A very skilled weaponsmith. And an armorsmith as well. And I'll make sure to have a mason. 2 of them, how about? As well as, well, you know, I've never really tested this before, but if I have a dwarf who's a really good teacher, okay, and then I also give him like really good fighting skills, like, I'm not sure what. How about axe dwarves, like the queen? This is really an attack being sent out by the queen, I would imagine. And she does prefer battle axes. Okay, I'm gonna have one really good teacher who's really good at using axes, and I'm gonna try to use him to train new warriors. I don't know if that's gonna work, but I have my hopes up. Let's see, items. Let's get rid of all this stuff here. There we go. And we'll bring some spare wood just in case. Bring some more seeds. Couldn't hurt. Spare axe, spare pick, and some more drinks. Could always use some more drinks. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother bringing any extra animals. They'll just clutter up the place. Alright, now the fun part. Naming the fortress. Well, you know, I guess first it's important to identify what our purpose is. To kill goblins. Every single last one of the bastards. In the name of the queen. And all dwarven kind, really. Alright, let's hit the randomize button a couple times. Anguish Furnace. Kinda like that. But no. Guild Post. No. Allied Hall. Nope. Paintthorn. Nope. Tooth Cities? No. Gath Zon. Gath Zon. Legend Helm. Well, that's kind of interesting, really. I mean, I'd like to assume that this fortress is going to go down in dwarven legends. And, Helm, that's the symbol of the Foggy Books. Plus, Gath Zon seems kind of cool. Gath Zon. Gath Zon. Yeah, I'm going with it. Gath Zon it is. Gath Zon. Fortress Legend Helm. I like it. And the dwarves who live here will be known as the Inky Urns. No. The Misty Treaties. No. The Confusing Wires. No. No, 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 no. The Vault of Helms. That seems fairly apt, right? Abul Zon, the Vault of Helms. That's what we're going with. And last but not least, our symbol. This is my favorite part, by the way. Now, let's see here. Object. I figured we started off simple with just a helm, right? One helm. Then let's see what else we have here. We can choose a shape. Like a mountain? That's pretty cool. A mountain and a helm? I like it. 1 mountain or 3 mountains? Yeah, we'll go with 3 mountains, how about? I'm getting a nice mental image when I think of that. And there should be something else too, huh? A helm and 3 mountains is kinda dull. How about we finish it off with a circle? Pretty boring, right? But I think it's gonna work out pretty good. Okay. So here we have an image of a helm, 3 mountains, and a circle. The symbol of Fortress Legend Helm. Gath Zon. Our new home. Pretty cool, wouldn't you say? Oh, those goblins better watch out. They're gonna have their asses kicked in short order, I'll tell you how much. I like it. I think we're good now, right? Got everything we need. Bunch of food, bunch of skilled dwarves. Yeah, I'd say we're ready to go. Let's do it. Embark. You have arrived after a journey from the mountain homes into the forbidding wilderness beyond. Your harsh trek has finally ended. Your party of 7 is to make an outpost for the glory of all among the cut. There are almost no supplies left, but with stout labor comes sustenance. Whether by bolt, plow, or hook, provide for your dwarves. You are expecting a supply caravan just before winter entombs you, but it is spring now. Enough time to delve secure lodgings, ere the leopards get hungry. A new chapter of dwarven history begins here at this place, Gath Zon. Legend Helm. Strike the earth! Let's do it. Home sweet home. I'll tell you what, guys, it is a grand thing indeed to start a brand new fortress. Let's take a look here. We have some very tall mountains in the south, like extremely tall. Whew, yeah, real tall. Let's see, down here we have a very large flat area with an extremely windy brook going through it. It's kind of neat looking, really. I like that. Yeah, and just a big old mountain on either side of us. So we're currently located at the bottom of this little valley area. Very cool. I'm sure we could do something with that. There are plenty of trees here, which is good to see. Gonna have to make use of that, that's for sure. Currently nothing dangerous on the map, just an echidna and a porcupine. And our 7 dwarves here. Oh, and I guess I'll zoom out too so you can see the entire area just on one big screen here. A little less confusing that way. You can see that big winding river, a bunch of ponds as well, and then the big hill mountain things on either side. And if I move up a level here, you can see the treetops and how many trees we have. Yeah, it's quite a few, although not quite as many as in Zeludidil, but no matter. I don't intend on these dwarves living in a surface fortress like in Zeludidil. We're gonna have to be a little bit more cautious here. Morningruff, the goblin-infested, abandoned dwarven hillocks, is straight off to the west, like right there. So I don't know how long it's going to take for the goblins to attack us, but it could potentially not be very long at all, which, wouldn't be a great thing. So, dwarves, time to get to work. And quick, too. Okay, defenses. We're not going to have any fighting dwarves for quite some time, so we're going to have to rely on traps from the beginning, just so we can be safe. Now, we do have a brook running through the middle of the map here, so maybe we can utilize that in some sort of a trap. I'm always a big fan of waterworks, and it is a brook, so we can walk straight across it, no worries. Yeah, this looks like a good spot right here. Oh, but it is pretty close to the edge of the map. I kind of want some space to breathe. How about right here, right where the wagon is pretty much, just below it rather. Right at the foot of this hill here. Yeah, I kind of like that. It's pretty central on the map. Gives us plenty of room to expand into. Yeah, I like that. Alright, right there it is. Oh, and I should also note that I have turned down the dwarf cap to 50 dwarves. Which doesn't sound like many, because it's not. But we have to remember the purpose of this fortress is not repopulation. It's extermination. This is a very dangerous area. I don't want to be piling all sorts of dwarves in here just to have them get killed if something goes wrong. So we're going to keep it small here, maybe rely on a bunch of traps. I do plan on having warrior dwarves, just not a whole heck of a lot of them. But things are always subject to change around here. And who the hell knows, I might just turn up the dwarf cap in the future. I guess we'll play that by ear. But I'll tell you what, dwarves, you guys are going to have to wait just a little bit before we even strike the earth here. We're getting to the end of this episode, and I'm going to start wrapping it up, I think. And what an episode it was, huh? Zeludidil has reached its very pinnacle, and our queen has permanently solidified her position as monarch of the Foggy Books, which I know I've made reference to multiple times in this episode. That is the name of our dwarven civilization, if you don't remember. Anyways, and with that act, Zeludidil falls to the past, and a new fortress begins. Gath Zon, Legend Helm. Mark my word, it is at this place that the Ageless Realms finally finds balance. Alrighty, and before we end here, YouTube, there's something I'd like to address just real quick. A little bit of a clarification, if you will. Now, fellas, I've got myself a Patreon, okay? And stuff's been picking up on there pretty well, which is really great for me to see. Now, the point I'd like to clarify is I didn't make a Patreon in order for me just to get a quick buck off this whole thing here. I made a Patreon with the hope that one day I'll be able to do this stuff full time. I want to keep making Dwarf Fortress videos just like this, but I also want to do so much more. And it's not a matter of me saying, hey, if I get this amount of money, then I'll do more for you. I actually spend every second of my free time on these videos, believe it or not. A lot goes into them. So the only way I can do any more is if I could do this full time. And thanks to Patreon, I can see that being the case one day, which is extremely exciting to me. And yes, I'm aware I run ads on these videos, but really my audience is fairly small, and so I'm not getting very much at all from ad revenue. Maybe one day it will if I get more subscribers, but the only way I can see myself getting more subscribers is by doing different types of videos. And the only way I could see myself doing different types of videos is if I could do this full time. Enter Patreon. And I did put some thought into one day possibly choosing one over the other, Patreon or ad revenue from YouTube. But for now, I think I'm content with this double-pronged approach. If I have to rely on ad revenue, then I'll have to put more ads in these half-hour-long videos, which will be annoying. But if I'm relying on Patreon, then you guys never hear me shut up about that. Come on, guys, I rely on you, blah, 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 give me $1. That gets annoying and I really hate doing it. But for the time anyways, Patreon is where my hope lies. And if you like what I'm doing here, and you want to see more of it, $1 a month is gonna get me where I'm going. Oh, and it gets you access to my Discord server, so you'll be able to bother me whenever the hell you want. And that'll be fun, right? But anyways, thanks for hearing me out, guys. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And I hope you'll join me next time here in Gath Zon, Legend Helm. But until then, you bearded bastards,